Go ahead, Lana. You could ask your craziest questions because
I have a lot of questions. I mean, there's so many.
I know. I've been down this rabbit hole.
Like I didn't know you were going to ask this beforehand, but there's just so much to say because so what on earth are we doing with these PCR tests? I understand that it's all Buddha, you know what I mean? A CT above 34 is just, dead viral matter and who knows what. But
well,
what
the PCR,
yeah.
the PCR is just completely invalid because even if it did work as a test, well, what are you measuring? Because the only way to develop a test to measure a virus is to first demonstrate the virus and then find some part of it that you can measure more easily. But the PCR test as it is completely meaningless. And it doesn't matter how many times they amplify it. That's just a way to see what they can do is they can manipulate the test. And this is why they use PCR because it's so easy to manipulate. There are at least 3 different variables that you can tweak to change your outcome. And the governments are using the results of this test to drive the policies. So if they want to institute a new policy or initiate more fear in the public, they can tweak the test. One of the ways is by increasing the amplification cycles, but there are other ways. And that will increase the number of positives. Now, there's no other test that I've ever heard of like this. And what they say is that there's so much virus coming out of your mouth and nose that you need to protect yourself. So they could easily just swab right in your mouth or the tip of your nose. So why are they doing this weird, uncomfortable procedure? Well, when I looked in the scientific literature, I found the answer. And this is essentially a drug development technology to deliver drugs directly to the brain. We have a filter in our blood between the rest of our body and the brain, known as the blood-brain barrier. So if you swallow a pill or get an injection, depending on the nature of the drug, it may or may not go into your central nervous system. And this is kind of a problem sometimes if it's to treat a neurologic issue. But by going to the back of the nose, there's a special nerve that is right there called the trigeminal nerve, and that goes directly into the brain. And in experimental studies, they found that if they put a drug there at that nerve, that it goes right into the brain. Now, I haven't done any testing to see that there is something on the swabs, but that is the only justification that I'm aware of or that I could find in the medical research of why you would do a swab in that area.